I'd like to welcome everyone today to the Break the Silence podcast. This is brought to you by Aid to the Church in Need, ACN, the Catholic charity helping suffering Christians around the world. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to us on the ACN UK YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite podcast platform. I'm Caroline Hull. I'm the National Director of ACN UK. And I'm here to talk to you about my recent visit to the Holy Land and the challenges facing the church there. And with me is my friend, Bishop William Shomali, who's the auxiliary bishop, an auxiliary bishop for the Latin Patriarchate, and he's in charge of he's the Patriarchal Vicar for Jerusalem and for Palestine. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you.
I'll just give a little background to introduce you. Bishop William was born in Beit Saor, right, in Palestine in 1950, and you've been a priest since 1972. You have a degree in English literature. I didn't know that before now. That's wonderful. And then you went on to the Anselmianum to study liturgy in Rome. And you became a professor of liturgy. And I also know that you were the vice rector of the seminary at Bet Jala, which I visited when I was there recently. It's a wonderful place. And that you have been auxiliary bishop since 2010. Is that right?
In 2010, in Jerusalem, then in Jordan I was.
Jerusalem and Jordan, right. Okay. So, welcome, and thank you very much for meeting today. I know you're busy, so we won't take up too much of your time, but we wanted to seize the opportunity to have this chat. We met first, I think, in Scotland about a year ago at the Courage to be Catholic conference up in Scotland. And then we saw each other again briefly in the summer, I think, at a reception. And I didn't know very many people there, and you walked in, and I was so glad to see you.
Good.
Someone to talk to. And then when I came to the Holy Land last November, we had a wonderful meeting talking about the, Jerusalem, the challenges the church is facing, and sort of just catching up with everything that was going on. So to get us started, could you just give everyone a quick overview of what the situation is generally for Christians in the Holy Land, and also a little bit about the Latin Patriarchate so people understand how the church operates?
Yes, the Latin Patriarchate is another name for the Catholic Church in the Holy Land, where the Patriarch is like Archbishop. His responsibility covers Cyprus, Jordan, Palestine, and Israel. It's a huge territory with 4 countries. Even Gaza is part of the diocese, even if it is separated geographically from Palestine. The total number of Christians in the Holy Land between Jordan, Palestine, and Israel are around 350,000. Christians, Arabic speaking, to whom we have added the foreigners who work in the Holy Land. They may be between 80 and 100,000. We have a small Jewish-speaking, Hebrew-speaking community which celebrates praise in Hebrew, which is the language of a small number of people. And the Patriarch is helped to run the diocese by 6 vicars between bishops and priests. This is the way the Latin Patriarchate is administered. To say also something about the situation of the Christians, we suffer in the Holy Land of a conflict which didn't start only on the 7th of October. It is a 1 century long conflict, which had the most difficult phase of it during the last 2 years, but wars didn't start only 2 years ago. We had the war of 1948, 1967, 1973, the first uprisal, the second uprisals, the 5 wars between Gaza and Israel, Gaza, Hamas, and Israel. The last one, I hope, will be the final one, the last one, and we pray for peace in the Holy Land.
And how do you feel that lives for Christians have changed, since you were younger in Palestine? What are the differences now for people?
Oh, it's a beautiful question. Now I remember my grandfather has an Ottoman Turkish passport because he was born during the Ottoman occupation of the Holy Land. My father was born during the British mandate on the Holy Land. So he had a passport from the British mandate. I was born during the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan, governing the West Bank. Bethlehem was part of the West Bank. And for this reason, I have a Jordanian passport also, besides my Palestinian passports. Then I lived all the wars I mentioned 1 minute ago. I remember the very well 1967 war, even the previous one, the Canal Suez War, which was close to us, and all the tension that happened in the Holy Land during the last decades, which was not easy for the Christian community. For this reason, most of the Christian community of the Holy Land are in the diaspora, not in Bethlehem or Jerusalem or Nazareth. We have 1.5 million of Palestinian Christians living in North America, many in South America, especially Chile, and some went to Canada, to Australia, wherever it is possible to live. So those who remained here are a minority vis-a-vis of those who left.
So it's all over the world, and presumably those communities are keeping what they can of their culture, their traditions,
Yes.
or are they absorbed into the church where they are?
There is something interesting. They integrate very well in the different places where they go, but in the same time, they keep their subculture, their traditions, even if at the third generation they lose the language. I give you an example. Half of my family left to Chile before the First World War. They are now there 400 people. They remained faithful to their faith. Maybe it is astonishing to mention that the Archbishop of Santiago of Chile, Cardinal Fernando Shomali, is my third cousin.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Wow.
His grandfather left in, yes, his grandfather, who was brother of my grandfather, left in 1908. He never came back. We lost their traces. And after years and years, when we had social media, we discovered that many are Shomalis in Chile. So they contacted us, we contacted them, and we discovered that they kept their faith. They are good, faithful to the Catholic Church, and they come to visit us as pilgrims. And when Cardinal Fernando was chosen as a cardinal, 30 persons came from Bethlehem to Rome and 40 from Santiago. And we went for the first time in a huge number to celebrate this event. This is one example of how we connect to the people. I have part of my family now in Canada, in Montreal, in Washington, in Australia. This is the normal situation of the Christians of the Holy Land.
Of the Holy Land. And I suppose it gives a new dimension. One thing that I love, about Christians in the Holy Land is this concept of being living stones. And I think that's just a lovely way to describe, a group, a faith group like that. And maybe spreading out all over the world is another way that these people are now living stones wherever they've ended up.
Yes, because people as pilgrims come to visit the stones of the holy places, the excavations, the old churches, but they are stones. Who can tell that this is the Grotto of Nativity? Here is the tomb of Christ. It is the Christian community which remained here for 2,000 years and who were witnesses and custodians of the holy places. And in fact, you find a Christian community around the holy places. The more remote you go from the holy places, there are less Christians. So for this reason, we are called living stones vis-a-vis of the dead stones of the shrines.
Of the shrines, absolutely. I just want to sort of shift slightly to your time and your experience in the seminary. That's in a way the opposite issue from your family that's spread out everywhere. There are problems bringing the vocations in, aren't there now, to bring them to the seminary? When I was there and I met Father Bernard and his team, and they were talking about the problems they have because of the vocations and getting people permission to come in.
Yes, there are some difficulties because the seminary is located in Beit Jala, while the seminarians should come from Jordan, Palestine, and Israel. No problem for the seminarians who may come from Palestine. Some difficulties for those who come from Israel because of the different curriculum that they follow in their schools there and in the seminary. The location is different. There in Israel, they learn Hebrew, much subjects in Hebrew, while in the seminary, they have to follow their studies in Arabic in the minor seminary. Then we have Jordanian seminarians who should get the visa in order to be able to come. So sometimes the visa is denied or we have difficulties to obtain it, especially for the younger seminarians. So we closed the seminary for some time. Then we reopened it only for the Palestinian students because it is possible for them to come easy. For the future, we hope that Jordanians will also be able to come to the minor seminary, where many of them finish their studies and enter philosophy and theology in the major seminary.
And when I was there, I believe that ACN, Aid to the Church in Need, helped to fund, or ACN benefactors funded a lot of the redecoration and the renovation. It's a huge complex, isn't it? Exactly.
Church in Need, ACN, is one of our major donors, even the second one after the Order of the Holy Sepulchre. So I thank everyone for the help we are given. The seminary was renovated thanks to ACN help. And also we have a huge program of catechetical studies for lay people, which started at the seminary with a huge number of adults between 25 to 40 around, who come once or twice at the seminary to follow courses on different subjects, theology, liturgy, catechesis, history of the church. And really, they are enthusiastic to come. They don't pass exams because they are adults. They come because they want to come. And at the end, we give them a certificate for the course they have followed. And each time there is a new course, they come back with the new students. And sometimes we have to separate the groups into two because when we had 100, it is difficult to teach 100. So we have to separate them into groups. And the teachers are enthusiastic. We started to publish books for them, to make books especially for these courses. So even publication of theology books in Arabic flourished during this period. And we opened new centers for catechetical studies in Ramallah, in Jerusalem, and in Galilee. But everything started in the seminary. And all this is financed, we are grateful, financed by ACN.
Well, that's wonderful. And having classes that are so big, that's a wonderful problem to have to split the class into two. I think it's interesting, maybe for those of us who are not Christians from the Holy Land, but who are Christian or Catholic from other parts of the world. I think maybe we have this idea that the Christians in the Holy Land are, somehow know everything they need to know about their faith. They come from these ancient communities. But it's my understanding from my visit and from talking to you that actually catechesis is an important part of what the Patriarch is doing and in what you're asking for funding for, to make sure that training, that teaching, that understanding of their faith is available to people.
Yes, our Christians want to learn about their faith. We feel that we are a small number. In Israel, a small number of Christians live among a Jewish majority, and in Palestine and Jordan, the Christians live among a Muslim majority. So we feel that we should know our faith because Muslims know their faith very well. And in some way, we are jealous. Why shouldn't we know our faith? It's a good motivation. We start with there. Then the beauty of our faith is a reward when someone enters into the different mysteries in which we believe. It's wonderful. People love every course, liturgy. I gave a course there to guides of the Holy Land, those who accompany pilgrims. Their knowledge of the history, archaeology of the Holy Land was really fantastic, better than me for sure. But I wanted to tell them that the priority of pilgrims who come, it is not to know only the story of this shrine, who built it, when it was restored, to which century goes back this mosaic. This is good to know if they ask you. But these people come here to grow up in faith. So you have to explain to them the event itself which happened, so they can grow in faith and not only learn history and geography. And this course was very interesting for me and for them.
Or that, I'm sure it was. I mean, Father Bernard also mentioned when we were there that one small thing that happened was the gates were replaced in the seminary so that people can now see inside. And that's part of this broader move to welcome everyone in and to go alongside this formation, particularly for the laity, so that it doesn't seem closed off to people.
Exactly. Yes, you are right. You are right.
I was concerned when I was there. He was talking about the quality of the water and that the electricity is a problem. And so I hope that there are more things that our benefactors will be able to do to help. It's just beautiful. The renovation that's been done is wonderful. The chapels are just fantastic.
Anyway, the donors of ACN were really generous, and your office in England, United Kingdom, is very close to us because you visit us every year and you see with your eyes what the money has produced in terms of pastoral care, or in terms of buildings, or any other projects. You work a lot in the humanitarian aspect. Many of our Christians are unemployed now.
Yeah.
So we have started, with your help also, and the Order of the Holy Sepulchre, and some donors, a huge humanitarian program to help people to buy medicine, to pay the rent of the house, to go to hospital, to the dentist, what else? To pay the fees of the university because they don't want to interrupt their studies, their curriculum. There is also a program, vocational program. Someone would like to learn a new profession, so he needs, for example, $1,000. We give him, so for 5 months or 3 months, he can follow a course and he will be rehabilitated to find a job. We also created jobs for people who are unemployed. So your money, I can say, made miracles for many, many Christian families that without the help wouldn't be able to survive, really to survive.
I'm sure I can speak, thank you, and I'm sure I can speak on behalf of our benefactors to say that you are so very welcome. And when I was there, I was just every day moved by what I saw. I think the program you're talking about is the AFAC program about,
Yes.
I thought that was unbelievable, that you provide leadership and skills acquisition and entrepreneurial, bookkeeping skills and all the things that you need to run a business. And I just thought that was wonderful.
Yes, it is AFAC. In English, we say Horizon.
Horizon, yeah.
People, practice their profession, but they are paid by the Latin Patriarchate program. Either they paint or they repair or they make pavement or they teach, whatever they can do in different institutions. So we have two benefits. We help the institution to run itself, and we help the family to receive a reward, a compensation for the work. And we saved many, many families with dignity. Dignity is important because to give money without work is like a humiliation. But someone works and sweats, and he receives at the end of the month something, he feels gratified by what he has done.
And it's helping people to stay in their home, where they love, in their homeland, and not look to go somewhere else, not to feel hopeless. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. I particularly liked, there's a group of Palestinian dancers and musicians who play at weddings, and they joined up and they took some courses through AFAC, and now they're able to, these are young people, they're able to stay, in where they are and with their families and not feel they have to look to go abroad.
Mm-hmm.
That's just wonderful. We do work quite closely with a man called Roni Tabash in Bethlehem. He runs a third generation family shop, and right off Manger Square. And you will know that it's so miserable in Bethlehem, with COVID and then October the 7th and the conflict. The pilgrims in fact, when I was visiting him, there was one other customer came into the shop. I was there for 90 minutes maybe. And he said they only can operate in cash because they have so few customers. And he was talking about the fact that he works with these families, olive wood carvers in Bethlehem, and that the unemployment is so high. There must be real pain for families in Bethlehem, in the West Bank, and elsewhere.
Yes. In fact, many Christian families live from their work in mother of pearl or in olive wood craft. And when there are pilgrims, Bethlehem receives at least 2 million pilgrims per year. And these people want to have a souvenir from the Holy Land, so they buy a nativity set or a cross or whatever. And people are happy because they live from this business of handicraft. And now, during COVID-19, few people came, and also a few people came during the last war. Okay. Fortunately, recently, more people are coming, but still not enough to give work to our Christian community. So what happened is that many Palestinians took a visa, went as tourists to USA or to Europe, and they go on Saturday and Sunday to parishes, and they sell their production in churches. And I have to say that our Catholics everywhere, USA or Europe, were generous when they knew that these people came to the States because they don't have anything to live with, and they just come to sell their production that they have themselves done. People were generous with them, and this helped a lot our Christians to continue to work because their production was partially sold out in the States, or I believe also in England. Some people went to Ireland, to Italy. Italians also helped a lot in this.
But it's that sort of entrepreneurial sense, you know, that we've got to come up with a solution. And it sounds like the Latin Patriarchate is doing everything it can to help find solutions to keep things moving to the future.
You know, the necessity is creative. Once someone has nothing, he has a lot of things to sell and he cannot sell. This creates creativity. He has to find a place where he can sell these things. So really the need is a source of creativity, I believe.
Well, I won't keep you much longer, but before we go, I do want to ask you about the young people, because I was really touched by the young people I met. I went up into Galilee to meet some of the youth group and who've done the leadership course up there. And I also spent time talking to people about schools. Aid to the Church in Need is helping with schools, helping with these youth groups, and also summer camps. So could you say a little bit about what your hopes and fears are for the children and the young people who are Christians in the Holy Land today?
All over the Holy Land, in Palestine, Israel, and Jordan, we have activities almost during all the year, Sunday school, but mainly in the summer, because students have 3 months holiday, vacation. So for 1 month, we organize generally in the parishes activities. We teach them maybe how to more English courses, or we teach them some religious studies, even recreative activities. They enjoy themselves. For the smaller, even they go for swimming in the closest pool. But this requires some expenditures, some expenses, and we are supported by Church in Need for the summer activities. They learn also to sing religious hymns. So all this together is helpful to educate them. Otherwise, they spend their time on Instagram or Facebook, which is not the best solution to spend 3 months vacation.
It must help their parents as well. I mean, if the children are someplace safe, someplace where they're learning and laughing and playing and exploring their faith, then it makes it easier for the parents who are, you know, trying to go out to work or earn a living as well.
The families are very, very happy, really. They love, even they judge the priest from many times from these activities. If he's active, organizes well the summer course, the families are grateful, because some of them work and they don't know what to do with their children who remain at home. So having to go in summer camps is very helpful to both children and family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just finally then, now we've spoken a bit about children, what are your hopes for the future? How do you feel the Christian community in the Holy Land is coping with everything? What are your worries? How can ACN help? How can ACN benefactors help? And you know, I suppose along the same lines, as you mentioned at the beginning, none of us wants these holy places to become museums. We need them to stay alive. We need living stones. So what are your feelings about how the way forward?
Yes, we need the Christians to remain in the Holy Land and also to keep their faith. We need quantity, numbers, and quality. This is very important. And so I feel that Church in Need is concerned about these two things, that Christian community remains. For this reason, we help them with job creation, with learning a new profession, with payment of tuition for the school, for the university, but also there are pastoral activities like the courses we described, what we said just now. This is important to keep our people with a strong faith. So we are grateful to our partners in Church in Need who really are concerned with not only the material needs, but with the spiritual and pastoral needs together. This is very, very important. Then we hope that one day will come when people will find work and they will not need to be supported. On the contrary, they may support others. And then Church in Need can focus on more pastoral and less material, hopefully.
Well, I would like to say that even in my brief time there, it deepened my faith. And I know how hard you and the other clergy and the lay people in the Holy Land are working every day to find solutions. And I want you to know that we stand with you. The benefactors of ACN, not just in the UK, but around the world, are with you and praying for you and doing everything that we can to help ease the plight of everyone there.
If you allow me to add something, because some people say, oh, we have to care for the spiritual aspect. We are a church only. We have to care for the spiritual and pastoral aspect. My answer is this. If you want to follow the footsteps of Jesus, Jesus preached. But when it was needed, he multiplied the bread. When it was needed, he turned water into wine, and a good wine. When it was needed, he healed people and forgave their sins. So Jesus cared for the material and spiritual aspect of the people he wanted to evangelize. So it's important to follow the example of Jesus.
Of Jesus. And that has to be the best way to end this podcast. I'd just like to thank you so much, Your Excellency, for sparing the time out of a busy schedule to have this chat with me. And I'd also like to thank everybody who's watching for joining us. And again, ask, please, if you haven't already, to be sure to subscribe to our podcast. So thank you all very much. Thank you very much, Bishop Shomali. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.